And as Coach gets settled here, we'll ask him for an opening statement, then we'll do questions for the student athletes, and then let them go and back to Coach. Coach, welcome back to Louisville.
Thanks. This is our third time this year. Our goal is to get here the third time, and it's changed a little bit since the last time we were here, so we're excited. It's a great place to play volleyball, this arena, and I hear it's sold out, so it should be fun.
Thank you, Coach. Questions for the Nebraska student athletes, please. Middle aisle to the left, back row.
Lexi, what's most gratifying about being a four-time All-American?
I think it's just, I think it's just really cool. I mean, it's something that, Coach challenges everyone to come in and be their best and try and be an All-American. But ultimately, I just think it's really cool that everyone kind of believed that I could do it, and my coaches always believed in me and my teammates did, and they were just always so supportive of me, so I owe it all to them and for all that they've done to help me get to where I am today.
More questions here? Let's go on the right here in the middle. And then on the end. We'll go middle, then end. Yep. Thank you.
Merritt, way back when you transferred, it didn't seem like everybody was, and not you specifically, but what do you make out of what's going on right now, and especially this past few days in the portal? It seems like there's more people in it than not. Do you have any thoughts about it?
Yeah, there's a lot of people have a lot of different opinions on the portal. I think it's a very beautiful thing as someone who is in a position that really needed it. And so I'm grateful for the portal. I know a lot of people have negative things to say about the portal, but as someone who has come out of the portal and been in a much better place than I was before, I'm extremely grateful for it. But like I said, there's a lot of different opinions on it. I'm personally very, very grateful to have the portal.
Hi, Aish with ESPN. I spoke with Justine Wong-Orantes yesterday, and she talked about how records are meant to be broken, and that she couldn't be more thrilled that you are the one that's about to. Two-part question. First, how does that feel coming from her? And then I'll ask the other part after you answer.
I think it means everything coming from her, and she's just such an amazing libero and such a sweet person, and she's someone that I've always looked up to ever since I was getting recruited by Nebraska, and so to even be in the same conversation with her is just insane to me, but yeah, she has just been so supportive, and it's truly meant the world.
The second part of the question is, what is the scariest story you have to share as a libero?
Scariest?
Yeah, harrowing tale, if you will.
I'm not sure. There's some scary moments, obviously. I don't know if I can pinpoint exactly one, but there's always times when there's an open net and a big hitter. Those are always the scariest, but I don't know, you get used to it as you keep playing too.
Front row here on the left side.
Bergen, how do you prepare for, a game like this? Like, what would you do the rest of the day to keep you, focused?
Yeah. We have a pretty busy day just with all the media, and we have some team stuff tonight, so we have our day pretty booked out, but just in terms of preparing for the game, we say that we've been preparing for it since January. So not really getting too much in our heads or trying to do too much. We have our routine that we'll stick with tomorrow, our game day routine. But other than that, just kind of falling back on what we've been doing all season since the beginning of the year, and just knowing that it's worked for us, so we're not going to try and fix it.
Staying on the left side.
Bergen, this is one for you. What did last year's experience teach you? What was your biggest takeaway, and how much of a benefit is it coming back to the Final Four, knowing you've been here before?
Yeah, it's just a little more comfort in knowing that I've been through it before, and obviously this is a huge stage and this is what we work for all year, so I don't know if you can necessarily ever say that you're fully comfortable, but just having another year of experience, having it under my belt has helped a lot, just confidence-wise and comfort-wise, I guess, but we're really excited to be back and hopefully get it done this year.
Merritt, do you feel like it's a benefit to be playing a team in the Final Four that you've already played this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome for us. We get another chance. Obviously, we didn't come out on top the first time that we played Penn State, and so I think we're really excited to just have another chance. But I think the way we're kind of trying to go about it this year is just like we get another day, and only 4 teams are in that position right now, and so I think we're just trying to take it day by day, and one of our mottos has kind of been, it's not us like versus Penn State, or it wasn't us versus Wisconsin or whoever we played, it's us in the Final Four, and no matter who's on the other side of the net, we're gonna focus on our side and do whatever it takes to get the job done. And so I think kind of like Bergen said, obviously we learned a lot from last year, and I think we are kind of going about it differently a little bit this year just because we have that experience. So I mean, there's pros and cons, just like pretty much everything. I think we're excited just to get another opportunity.
Lexi, is there people are going to make it like you guys are out for revenge because they beat you the first time. So give me the company line that it's just another game.
I mean, at the end of the day, it really is. It's just we're in the Final Fours, the semifinals, and at the end of the day, honestly, we have to play Nebraska Volleyball and play our best game. It doesn't really matter who it would be against. We know that we have to play our best game of volleyball tomorrow night to be able to advance to the national championship.
Okay, anything else? Okay, let's come back to the middle aisle there.
Jacob Badil with Hale Varsity. Bergen, Lexi's finalist for National Player of the Year. If you were making the case for her to win it, what would it be?
I mean, she's the best libero that I have ever watched play volleyball, and it's just an honor to get to play with her and to set her passes. I mean, a lot of days at practice are pretty easy for me because she passes dimes right on my head, so I don't know, I can tell people that she passes good literally every single day. So that would be my case. It's great to be a setter off of her, but it's just so cool that she's even in the position that she is. I know that a lot of times liberos get looked over, and she's made a name for herself and made a case to not get looked over. So really cool for her, and I'm really proud of her.
Okay, anything else for the student athletes? Ladies, thank you very much. You guys can go.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let's open it up for questions for Coach. Start here on the right side.
John, a couple questions. The first one is for all the talk of parity and for how competitive the season was, there's 4 #1 seeds here. And it's this overwhelming feeling that the rich are just getting richer. And this is a perfect example of it. I know for you personally, that's a good thing because you're the richest. But what are your thoughts about the imbalance that seems to be being created?
Well, you're asked, first of all, I think this year was the most competitive year we've had. And there's so many good teams, and you saw all the upsets all across the country. So even though the top 4 seeds got here, there's a reason that we're top 4 seeds, because we had to earn it over a lot of tough competition. And now, tomorrow night, we're going to win the Big Ten again to get to the national championship. And we had to beat, we're literally the last 2 matches, we have to win the Big Ten again. They're top 2 teams in the Big Ten along with us. So, but where you're going with that is there's super conferences now, and I think that's one of the things that's going to separate. So the conferences that have the money for revenue share are definitely going to have an advantage, and the conferences that don't it's going to be tough. So you're right, it's probably heading where we're going to have the have and have-nots. I think it's in volleyball, it's going to be in football, basketball. but that's way above my pay grade on how we got there and why it's happening. But if you want to compete, it's, you know, I've already seen it this week in the portal, what's going on. I mean, it's nuts. And of course, we've seen it in football and basketball as well, but now it's here for volleyball.
You have the highest pay grade, but
Still ain't that high.
what I asked Merritt, though, about, you know, your ill-timed comment at this time last year notwithstanding, you know, you've taken transfers. The odds are you're going to take another one this year because you've got a big opening, and it seems like there's just more people than ever. But just your general thoughts about what's happening right now, especially in the last few days. It just seems nuts.
I agree with you. I think we're sending the wrong messages to developing young people. You know, is there loyalty anymore? Is there anything about commitment? Do those words mean anything? And again, I'm coming from the old school background. So, and I've heard Gino talk about it, I've heard Nick Saban talk about it, and several other coaches, the basketball coach, Tony, at Virginia. I used to play pickup games with him, by the way, at Wisconsin. It's kind of what we really never thought we would sign up for this, and it kind of defeats, I think, one of the things that motivates coaches is, you know, you want to develop young people, and now I'm not sure we're doing that, and it's more about what's in it for me and where can I get the best deal, and I see what's going on with some of these programs and these players leave, and we had 4 players leave last year. I mean, it's heartbreaking because you invest so much in these players emotionally, time-wise, and training them and trying to fulfill their dreams and help them accomplish their dreams, and then they can walk out like it's nothing. And so I just think there's a lot of negativity to it for big picture stuff as well. But you know, if you want to survive, you're going to have to figure out how to play along in the system, and that's what I'm trying to figure that out.
Coach, can you talk about your coaching staff, how much they mean to you and your players as well throughout the season?
Well, it's, you know, having a great coaching staff is a huge advantage to try to perform at the level we're performing at. And I feel very lucky because I've got Kelly Hunter, who's won 2 national championships, played in our program. Jordan Larson's done everything, played in our program. Jalen's been actually the longest assistant coach that has worked with me for the longest period of time of any assistant coach I've had. I've got 2 former assistant coaches and a player out there practicing right now in this thing. And so hiring good people and letting them develop and letting them do their thing. But it's not easy to keep everybody happy and work together, and there's a lot of work that goes into that, just like having a great family and having a great culture with our team. We're constantly working at it and trying to get better and challenge each other and then try to be on the same page with our players.
Hey, John, I know you talked about the 2 kids that transferred from your program to Penn State earlier this year, but if you could just touch on their development and how they've kind of made a next step in their playing.
Well, obviously they both had a great year. We had great plans for them. We knew they were good, and Maggie, once she went full-time volleyball, we knew she would really make a jump. And we also had a great plan for Caroline. But again, for whatever reason, those guys chose to leave, and they obviously went to another great program, and it's worked out really well for them. But we miss them. I mean, they were a year ago, they were right there in our locker room. So it's kind of bizarre when you think about it. And I'm seeing the pictures and stuff from last year. They're in all the pictures and Big Ten championship stuff, and here we are playing them to try to get the national championship. So it's like Lee pointed out. I mean, this is just nuts.
Having been through this, countless times for you, and having a team that was so young last year. And how beneficial was that experience last year? I know you didn't get the result you wanted, but how much will that serve you this time around?
Merritt nailed it. I mean, we're in a whole different place than we were last year. Last year, you're just, wow, we're happy to be here. This is great. But like today, I mean, the amount of things going on and the distractions, it's unreal. And then, parents coming in. I mean, it's just the whole goal is, you got to remember why you're here is to try to win a volleyball match tomorrow. And you can get so distracted very easily. And so I think our team now understands we only have 3 players that haven't been through this right now, and so I think they understand why we're here and what needs to happen and how we got to focus. And it's a challenge.
Carolyn for Penn State, what are all the reasons you think she was able to have one of her better matches of the year against you earlier this year?
You have to ask her that.
What do you need to do a better job against defending her tomorrow?
We got to stick with our game plan, and we have to play a lot better than we did at Penn State. So our team knows that.
Jacob Dill at Hale Varsity. The libero position typically doesn't get a lot of recognition. What do you think is different about Lexi to be a finalist for the National Player of the Year?
Well, I'm going to put this in perspective. So I remember in 2004. Let's go to before that. I mean, when the libero came in, we didn't even have a libero because we had outside hitters we played all the way around. So I didn't even think libero was that important a position. And I think our first libero was in 2004. So 2003 we played without a libero. 2005 we played without a libero. So as a coach, I'm like, it's just some little kid, that can't do anything else, so you make him a libero. And now we're learning how important the libero position is. And the fact that a libero is considered for National Player of the Year, one of the 4 finalists, I think is epic for the sport, because you don't know how many little girls want to be Lexi Rodriguez right now. And again, we always look at how tall and how physical volleyball players are and evaluate that. But here's somebody is a huge difference maker. And here's another stat I'll give you. This is the 50th year of Nebraska Volleyball. There's only been 3 4-time All-Americans. Sarah Pavin, who's one of the greatest players ever, Katie Rolfson, and now Lexi in 50 years of Nebraska Volleyball. So, it's a pretty major accomplishment right there. And again, from that libero position, somebody that again, I always thought she was too short. I didn't want to recruit her. But Caleb Banworth, who was my assistant at the time, basically overruled me. And he asked about assistant coaches. There you go. Head coaches usually don't know much. So, anyway, she's and she's continued the tradition of great liberos in our program.
Back on the right side here.
What was the first year you gave a scholarship to a libero?
Wow, that's a really good question. Well, the first one would have been probably Danny Busboom, because she was a setter, and I just read a thing. She had over 3,000 assists. So she actually set quite a bit for us, 5'1" and 6'2". So she was probably the first one on scholarship. But probably Kayla was actually a walk-on, and then we put her on scholarship her second year. So she was probably the first one, but she started as a walk-on. Yeah.
Merritt's obviously grinding on offense right now. What's going on?
Hey, it's a tough game. So, but she'll be fine.
Anything else for Coach? One more, left side.
Hey, John, I was looking at the last time you guys won the national championship, an old video clip, and you had mentioned a story about Kelly Hunter, that when she was a freshman, you said that you had questions whether she would even make it on the team. Can you just expand on that? I can't remember what the situation was there, and how did she develop, not only on the court, but off, maturity-wise?
So Kelly, when she was a hitter, and then they made her a setter in high school, and so she was pretty inexperienced. Then when she got to Nebraska, I think she had other priorities than volleyball, and she wasn't that great a setter to begin with. So it wasn't pretty, and I'm like, she can't locate the ball, and I don't know if she's ever going to play here. And that's one of the reasons we went out and got a transfer setter. And then her second year, we redshirted her, and that was a tough decision. She didn't really want to do that, but it ended up working out pretty good for us, and she developed into a great setter. She still is a great setter. Jordan's trying to talk her into going to the national team all the time. I mean, because she's still set in practice, or she'll set Jordan when she's working out, and yeah, she became a really talented setter. But I think her playing, she was a middle blocker at one point, outside hitter, all those things helped her develop that into a really good volleyball player.
Okay, right side in the aisle here.
Coach, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
You said Kayla overruled your decision not to. With Lexi, can you explain that? What did she say to you that made you feel like, okay, she has a point here and that we should maybe listen to her?
I can remember it like it was yesterday. I'm like, we were in Dream Team camp. We finished the camp. We talked to her, and just to say, hey, we're interested in recruiting, great job. And Kayla's like, we got to offer her. We got to offer her. She's going into 9th grade. And I'm like, she's too small. I want taller liberos. We got to cover the court. And I was using some examples of some liberos and other programs at that time that were 6-foot liberos people were using, and she goes, Coach, we are offering. She says, I mean, she's like in my face, pounding on my chest. We are offering her. We're not letting her leave without offering her. So I did, and Lexi walked from my office to the elevator, which is about 40 feet, hit the button with her mom. They were getting ready to go down. She stopped, walked back in my office, and committed. That's the story. So here we are. We're at time goes by fast.